Welcome to Conversations with Champions. My name is Johnny Randolph, and I am the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Learning Officer of the Randolph Speaker Bureau, where we help you unleash your voice and ignite your full potential. Today, I have a fascinating guest. She is an actress, she's a writer, she's a director, she's a polymath, the always brilliant and lovely Miss Cortney Scott Wright. Cortney, say hello to the people.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Courtney, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I'm really excited. I've never done
Cool.
anything like this.
All right, and we're excited to have you. Awesome. All right, well, you all know, if you've been paying attention to Conversations with Champions, that normally we have professional speakers, Toastmasters, John Maxwell, a TED Talk, etc., etc. But today we're going to deviate a little bit from that formula. We are going to delve into the behind the scenes of a professional actress. That's right, Cortney is a professional actress. And this ties into communications at will, how to capture emotions, how to rely on a script, how to keep your audience engaged. What we're going to do is take a look at a scene that Cortney performed. We're going to react to it. And then afterwards, we're going to delve into her history, her background, get a glimpse behind the curtains to see the brilliance and the magic.
Johnny speaks, wheeling in truth and heart with a brilliant grin. He tells a tale, helps us see the best in you, the best in me.
This is a morning show, not Hardball with Tommy Lahren.
Well, I'll speak to him about it at the meeting.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, what?
Uh-oh.
The meeting? The meeting about his retirement?
Okay, how do you know about that?
Oh, Nicole, 2 years younger than me. You have so much to learn. See, I want to make real news, not be on some stupid morning show. So when I get promoted into John's position, I can make whatever news I want to.
Talk your talk.
True Splenda, no cream.
I went to Yale, I played that game. I
This is a
won't
musical.
waste my hard-earned
Obviously.
money. It's dawn
I see.
and dark and I will win this fight. This is my chance and I will make it right. This is the reason that I
All right.
I'm going to be the news anchor, the
This
music
is the
producer.
reason.
Hold on, I can't hear you, Courtney.
I'm fighting for. If I want it, then I gotta be tough. No, I will not be made a job. This is my one shot. I can't try. I will fight. Gotta make it through that door.
Ah, shucks. Awesome. So, Courtney, let's find out a little bit more about you. What inspired you to want to pursue a career as an actress?
Oh, it's so funny. I started acting after I was a pretty young, because I was doing like dramatic readings and stuff like that in school. There's this thing called academic track where kids could kind of join these after school programs and showcase their talents and things. So I was in a girls trio, and I tried out for the dramatic reading program, and I didn't get into that, but because I didn't really understand what acting really was. And so then the school play, they were auditioning, and my friend asked me to audition. I was like, I don't want to do that, because I hadn't gotten into the dramatic reading. And she was like, well, I'm gonna try. And so she got in, and the play was Our Town, and she got in and got the lead. It was like Becky Thatcher, who was like the lead character in the book. And I remember sitting out in that audience, and I was watching her on stage, and I was like, I could do that. I want to do that. I
like
should
it.
audition. And the next play that they did actually was a musical. So that's where I kind of got the bug, like the acting bug was early on. I knew I liked performing and being in the arts, but it wasn't until college that I was really supported um, in that it could being
An actual
informed, it could
profession and
actually
a
be a career.
career. All right, you kind of it goes more from just like a hobby to like, oh, there's a way forward. I could actually do this. What was the performance that you first did in college to let you know, like, okay, there's no turning back?
Actually, I think it was my audition for the department because I went to University of Michigan and I went in, just like as a basic English major. Actually, I'd considered even being biology, like going pre-med. And I knew I just didn't want to do that. Like the closest thing I wanted to do was like be on some medical show. And so I was really encouraged to audition for the theater department, for the performance department. And I remember performing 2 monologues in front of this panel of like professors and like the judging committee. And I was so nervous, but I was so clear in what I wanted. And like they talked to me afterwards because I had already been, at the university.
Hmm.
They're like, so, if you're doing the program now, you're going to be here like an extra year. Is that okay for you? Like, is that something you would consider you'd want to do? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Because I really want to be an actor. And so that was probably the first time. And in terms of like the role, I remember as my first year in the program, and I beat out all of the girls who were like, like the ones who everybody thought were going to get cast. And I got cast in a leading role in this play called The Importance of Being Earnest. Actually, sorry, that wasn't my first year. My first year, I got cast in Antigone. I beat out all the other people
The
that they
Greek, the
expected.
Greek, the Greek.
The Greek play. Yep, it
Okay,
was
okay,
Antigone.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, so that was when I realized I was like, oh, I could do this.
Now, I want to go back just a little bit to when you talked about when you did the audition. You talked about you were really nervous. How did you handle the nerves and be able to persevere? So, because nervousness is a big thing. When anytime somebody goes in front of an audience, whether they're speaking or anything, do you have a habit or a technique that you do, or like what allows you to be able to push through the nerves to achieve your goals?
Nerves is a big problem for me. Like it's still something that I kind of struggle with. Um, One of the things that in that particular moment, it was really just preparation.
Yep.
I really, really, really worked hard and prepared so that me getting lost in the lines was not a thing.
Mm.
I prepared so deeply and connected to the characters that I I let go and just went ahead. But now when I prepare for an audition or prepare for a role, I really do this. I do this thing that I learned in college, which is I learned how to connect to the breathing and
Mm.
bring the breath back into like my center and really visualize myself either going into the room how I want it to go, how envision myself going through the lines, going through the character, really just preparing myself in that way, visualization technique. And from there, it really helps ground me in myself,
I like that. And
you know.
well, what I like that you said was preparation because that's my thing. As a speaker, I always tell people there's no adequate substitution for good and extensive preparation. Another thing that I'm interested in is this breathing technique. Like, can you give me an example? Like, what do you? Is it just like a deep breath, or what's the process that you kind of use to send? Because I've never heard that before, and I would imagine that my audience could really benefit from hearing something about a breathing technique that could kind of help mitigate nerves, center you, and like really put you in the moment.
Yeah. Okay, so like for an act for like let's say I'm doing a character. And if this is a character, let's say the character's name is Lucy. Now, I know Lucy's backstory. I know the history. I know what's happening in the scene. Now I need to embody this character and really kind of like become my version of this character. So when I breathe, it's like breathing in from the bottom of my feet all the way up. Each body, like start with your feet, like bring the breath in through your feet. With each breath you do it, you bring the character rises up in your body. So it's almost like you're becoming one with this character with every breath. With every breath you center and you kind of like bring it down to a certain a rhythm. As the character rises up, you imagine it from your knees to your thighs, all the way up your torso, down into your arms, in your hands. Finally, the breath comes all the way up, and the character comes all the way up to the top of your head. And now, the part of you that is fearful, the part of me that is Cortney, that is nervous or has fear about what's going to happen, that's unnecessary because I'm not it does seem kind of like vague or
No. I'm with
abstract
you
in a way.
100%.
um I'm not what's important in that moment. So now
Mm,
that I've breathed in that character all the way up, it's almost like the version of me, like I imagine I'm pulling myself out and connecting just as this character. All of the fearful part of me, that side that has been removed, and I'm stable in my breath. Does that make sense? And it's
it
like
does.
really rooted in what I have to do as Lucy, the character, the scene, the story I have to tell, what I need to be clear about. All of that is connected to the breath all the way through with each deep breath. And then from that moment, like you breathe out all of your anxiety, you breathe out all your fear, and you take one more breath, and now you're centered and you're ready to go in. And I do that every time.
And I'm very glad that we went down this road because one of the questions that I were going to ask you was what are some of your preparation habits right before you go on stage? And I think this is one I've never heard of it, but it's very strong. And while I am not a actor or a performer, I can imagine doing this technique as in I'm breathing because I want to work on it. And I might follow up with you on some techniques to enhance it. Like because if it comes out and for me it's not necessarily embodying the character but how can I serve my audience, and as a speaker that's my only focus. So this breathing technique, just listening to you, it sounds like you're bringing it all in, you're bringing it all in, you're bringing it all in until you get to the point where you let it go, and then your goal, your objective, that's the only thing you focus on. So
That's it.
whatever was weighing you down prior to or whatever's
You
going to
let go
happen
of
in the future, it just all goes away and
all of
you're
it.
just focused in that moment. And so then I could just focus on how do I deliver the best version of me to serve my audience. And that's how I was interpreting what you were saying.
Exactly. No, you're right. You're spot on because it's really about leaving the outside world behind so you can
Mm,
focus forward on what you need to do. And you leave off the phone call that you had
right.
with your mom. You leave off the phone call you had with your wife. You leave off what happened with the parking. You couldn't find parking,
Hmm.
and you stressed about like, oh my god, I'm going in here, I don't know I have all this anxiety about things that have nothing to do with
Right.
what you need to do. And so you go into that room, and you really I kind of just sit. It's like it is a meditation in a way.
It's a transformation in kind of a way. It's kind
It
of
is.
like you are like a cocoon, like you are shedding the cocoon to turn. I don't want to say butterfly because that sounds cheesy, but that's
Yeah.
kind of like the metamorphosis that you're going through in that moment.
Yeah.
As an actress, would you say, or what would you say is the most important part of the performance? Is it capturing the words perfectly? What's the most important part when you're doing your performance, do you believe? Is it the words? Is it maybe the emotion, the combination of both? Or do you kind of just go off and do your own thing?
It's listening.
Okay. All right. Talk to me. All right. I want to hear this. Talk to
Just
me.
listening 100%.
Mm.
Because if you go into, especially, I'll just talk from a stage perspective.
Okay.
Every time you go onto the stage, it is a different performance.
It
It is a
is.
different audience. It is completely, you're in the same clothes, same set, same lines, but every moment is different. And you have to take, to your point, you have to live in that moment, but you have to listen, because the actor that you're working with, that's your quote unquote tennis partner. And the connection that you have with that other person, that's everything. And somebody could say a line differently than they have said it every other night, and it'll land differently to the audience, and it has to land differently to you. So, like, if they're talking and they're like, well, normally they say, I don't want to go. And you're like, okay, well, they're waiting for us. If this next night they say, I don't want to go, but they're waiting for us. Do you see the difference?
You gotta, you gotta match the intensity. You gotta, you're responding.
You
Yeah.
have to respond to what you are given. And if you don't, you lose your audience because it's not truthful. You're just counting on, you're like counting on, like, okay, this is what we normally do, so let me try and bring him back. No, you can't bring, sometimes you can bring them back, like if they forget their words, or they make the wrong move, or the prop they need isn't there. Yeah, you have to adjust, but at the same time, but if the energy in the scene is different, you have to kind of go with that. You have to go where it's going to go. Say the same lines,
right?
but
Because it doesn't make sense if you don't. Right? I was not expecting you to say listening, and I'm so happy that you said it, because another part of presentations or anything is communication, is listening, right?
Mhm.
I mean, what's the old cliche? Like, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Like, so maybe you should be listening more than you were talking. And your ability to listen, and listen critically, is as essential to communication as talking.
It is, because listening changes everything.
It does.
Like, and it also it builds the connection, which I think is the second most important thing. When you're listening to people in the scene, you're connecting to them, because you've heard what they said, not just went on your plan and forgot about them. No, it's the two of you. Whatever the scene is, the two of you, because the audience isn't connecting to just me. They're connecting to the scene.
How do you go about memorizing or internalizing? However you do it, you may just internalize it, broad points, or you may have to memorize it word for word. What are some techniques that help you to memorize or internalize a script that you have?
That's a good question. First, I read it through completely.
Okay.
You read the script, because a lot of times people will just highlight their lines and start memorizing right away. But if you don't know what the scene is about, you don't know what you're memorizing, or what emotional content you're supposed to have at each line. So you need to know what's happening from beginning to end, to inform how you are at the beginning of the scene, and how you end up at the end of the scene, emotionally speaking. And a lot of times as an actor, you don't get like let's say you're auditioning for like an episode of,
General Hospital. Like, let's say something.
Yeah. Like something that, like
Young
they
people,
don't
that's
give you the
a
whole
soap
script.
opera. I'm saying young people, that's a soap opera. They don't know probably what General Hospital is. So, but sorry, go ahead.
No. So you don't know what's actually going to happen in the full episode. And sometimes they'll give you dummy sides, which a dummy side is like Grey's Anatomy. They don't ever want their storylines to be revealed.
Yeah.
So they'll send
Right.
out fake sides with fake character names, fake story entirely, just to see what you do with it.
Okay.
So that's what I do. I read it first. And once I know the emotional arc of my character, then I can start to formulate what I want to do in the scene. And that's what helps me memorize. If I connect it to an action, a
Mhm.
movement, which is called blocking
Yeah.
on the stage,
Okay.
then it helps me to inform me what I'm doing and where I'm going.
Emotion that you carry, and I tell speakers, use your voice. Your voice is a powerful way to inflect that emotion. But using you don't have to focus as much on the words as if you're capturing the authentic emotion that aligns with whatever story or whatever point that you're trying to make. And Courtney, now I know that you are a writer. When you are creating a project, how do you start with the project? Do you start with a theme, a concept, characters, plot? So what's your starting process for creating a story?
It all starts with a character.
Okay.
It starts with a character that either something has happened to them or an idea, an idea of like, that would be interesting. I wonder what would happen. Like, and then I start to like plot. I start to think more about it. Like, like, well, who would be the lead in that? I don't know. Well, I wrote this story about while I was while I was in jury duty. And it was a court case, and I was so bored. I was so bored sitting there waiting to see if I was going to be picked that I started thinking about not even a case because I didn't have a case. I was just literally waiting to see if I was going to get picked for jury duty. And that formulated an idea about somebody, like waiting to be picked for jury duty. And that whole idea just spiraled into so many different things because I really started to give it life, breathe. Like, who is the lead character? What's happening to this person? Why are they here? Okay, well, if they're there, so then what? Ooh, you know what I mean? So it all starts for me. It
Okay.
starts with an event and a character.
Okay. I like it. And as an artist, what would you say do you enjoy the most about being an artist and the artistic journey?
Ooh, that's tough. I love telling stories. I've always loved telling stories, like from the moment as a little kid, as you can see, like I have tons of dolls behind me. I love Barbie dolls, and Barbie dolls were my first outlet. They were my first cast, if you will. I love the opportunity to embody uh, a new character and just tell their story.
And it's how we connect as humans. I mean, ever since like when we were the cavemen and women just sitting around, that's what we did. We told stories. We told stories to educate. We told stories to entertain. We told stories to teach. We told stories to learn. It's a basic fundamental need, I think, in human beings is to share experiences and to connect through stories. All right. Well, Courtney, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to say, or where can the people find you at?
Let's see. Anything else I'd like to say? Well, I just think that arts are so important. So please continue to support the arts, to find the artist within you and encourage, whether it's like a young kid that or a child that you have, just encourage them to explore more arts, because I feel like if we focus more on creativity and imagination and fostering that in kids, then I think it will I think it will really go a long way with encouraging confidence and courage and just learning how to be brave. Because you go out on that stage, you find some courage,
You do.
you know,
It takes a
and
lot of
and
courage
and
too to go out on that stage
and
or
it's a
go in
lot
front
of
of people.
courage, and it really helps develop independence, because even though you're on a scene on a stage with other people, you have to independently be responsible for learning your lines, learning your blocking, learning how to communicate with others. So I think
Mhm.
it's a great opportunity to really learn what you're made of.
I like
So
that. I like
yeah.
to learn how to communicate with others. That's so important. And again, you really struck me when you said listening. The way that kind of threw off all my. I had a bunch of questions, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, hold on." I'm thinking you're gonna say, "Oh, you got to connect with the words," and then I'm like, "Nah." She said, "Listen." I'm like, "Okay, talk to me." So,
See, but you were
wow,
listening in that moment. That's a good scene because
yeah,
you could have just gone on with the questions you had prepared. You in and of itself embodied exactly what I was talking about.
hey,
The reason that I wanted to show you that clip about, the musical and then also the scene with the dancing. I'm not a dancer. Like I know how to dance, but like I'm not a dancer. And it's putting yourself out of your comfort zone.
and that's the way you're gonna grow.
And that's the
Absolutely.
way you're going to grow.
Yeah.
Everything is about growth and taking action. And
Mm-hmm.
as public speakers, like every time you go on a stage, like you're growing a little bit more. And the same as an actor, like you're challenging yourself in ways you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it's okay to be challenged because
Yep.
if you're not challenged, you don't know that you'll rise. You don't know that you'll discover this strength within yourself that you didn't know you had. So I guess my last statement is it's okay to be challenged. And because if you're not challenged, you don't win. So let's win.
Well, good stuff, Courtney. Great advice, and I so appreciate you for coming here. Where can the people find you? Social? You want any socials or anything
Yeah,
you want to plug?
on Instagram, I am Cortney Scott Wright. Courtney know you.
Okay, people out there, please hit that subscribe button or the like button. That's how the algorithm knows that you enjoy what you are seeing. As I always like to tell everybody, please remember to be your best, to be inspired, to be great. Talk to you all later. Bye, everybody.